Hello, everyone, and happy 12/12. It's me, Omaji. The Council of Light is also fully present and just wanting to connect and share on this new moon, 12/12, cusp of Mercury retrograde. It is a super auspicious time for reinvention. And we're going to be sharing a deeper, more layered energetic transmission here today. You can register for that, enroll for that on our website. We're going to start that here at about 1:30 Central Time. And it's really intended for the reinvention. It's like to harness this time of reinvention, the potency of it, and that we truly, as aspects of Source, creator beings, working with Source, in collaboration with Source, and in collaboration from a place of oneness, have the capacity to literally reinvent ourselves. Our body devas have the opportunity to reinvent themselves at this time into a higher octave of expression. And ideally, we do that in an empowering way, in a grace and ease-filled way, in a conscious way, where we exercise our power of choice from a place that is in alignment with the highest good of all, meaning we're not trying to work against anything else. We're not trying to choose for anyone else. We're simply in our own lane, choosing to move into greater, higher expressions that are in alignment with our own essence. And what can trip us up in that journey is when we get attached too much to circumstances or people, places, things in the outer world, thinking that if we can change that, we'll get to have our higher expression or higher levels of freedom or joy or peace. And when we do that, when we come from that perspective, that level of consciousness, that way of perceiving, we're actually attempting to use control to get what we want. And when we attempt to use control, meaning on the outer, externally, to get what we want, in this particular time that we're in, it's gonna maybe sort of kind of work, but not really, and it's gonna give you very discordant results. And again, it might not work at all. And we're actually generating negative karma by streaming our creative energy, our control externally. There's lots of reasons for that, and I think we're going to be offering, as part of an Empowered Evolution series after the first of the year, where we're going to look at the layers of that, the layers of, it's like new ways of being and manifesting. How do we graduate from the systems of control? We're not trying to function from controlling the outer to get what we want, but how do we function from that innate divine desire within us in collaboration and healthy co-creation with Source to manifest the highest good of all, which is the highest good for you. And they're not different things. They're not diametrically opposed. It's the part of us that is identifying as separate that might feel like, if we choose from a place of highest good of all, that somehow takes us out of the equation and we're not going to get what we want. So those are things to perhaps be aware of. And if there's resistance to moving out of the control-based ways of manifesting, we all are where we are in our journey. So we just invite you to be willing to look at from a place of authenticity, honesty with self, self-love, desire to be in truth, even if it means we have to admit that we were maybe a little bit out of integrity. And that's the only way that we can then move into greater energetic integrity and into alignment with the reverence for free will. I'm only going to use control energy on me, for me, not try to control anyone or anything outside of me, because that's actually separation consciousness. And that's what we're in the midst of graduating from. And what's happening at this time is if we're streaming our creative energy externally, trying to make this different, reinvent this out here, whatever it is, whether it's our finances, relationships, circumstances, trying to create the perfect home or the perfect job or career, but we're streaming it out here or maybe even into the future. Because we're streaming our creative energy out here, we're literally going to experience in some way, shape, or form lack. One of the things we'll experience is lack. The other thing you're going to experience is things showing up that aren't in alignment for you because you're out of alignment for you. And you're out of integrity with the divine design, with the holding your resources on you for you. So you're streaming your resources externally, trying to get what you want, which is your power, your creative energy, your control. And therefore, you don't have your resources on you for you, and lack of resources will reflect in some way. So those are just some of the little nuggets that we're going to dive deeper into. Maybe today in the 12-12 session, I'll have to see. It's always very spontaneous what arises in a group session and an individual session. It really is in the moment, being pulsed by what's being asked for from the individual or from that group. And in that alignment with the highest good of all, riding that wave. So it is a bit of, it takes a lot of courage to journey with us sometimes, where you're willing to kind of dive into the unknown, but resting in the trust in your higher self, your guides, your light to carry you through, and only take what you need from the session, leave everything that doesn't resonate. And that's really the way to navigate everything you set up for yourself, experience for yourself. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and would encourage the willingness to look at maybe what we've been unwilling to look at. One of the gems and jewels and treasures of this time, especially as we enter into Mercury retrograde, is that we have the opportunity to transform, evolve, let go of things that for lifetimes we haven't been able to get to the root of, get to the bottom of, shift or change within us. Because it's really what you really want is to shift or change whatever space and place and consciousness within you is ready to evolve, that is reflecting in the outer world as the not having, or the just out of reach, or the not loved, or the not supported, or the not safe. Whatever it is that you're perceiving has been elusive to you. And the more we try to get it in the outer world at this time, it's going to be amplified that that is not the source of what we're trying to get. In other words, it may feel more discordant to you. It may feel more uncomfortable for you. And that's an indicator that you're really ready to evolve a certain way of being for yourself. And so you might set this intention for yourself for this next 10 days, 11 days, maybe throughout Mercury retrograde, but really from now, 12-12, up through 12-21, the solstice, that you're willing to shift what you haven't yet been willing to shift. And we're going to bring in some energetic support for you, your body, your teams to calibrate for that willingness, if you choose. And this may require activating more courage within yourself, activating more self-love, so that if we do see a piece that, for instance, where we notice we've been out of energetic integrity, or we've been harmful to ourselves or another in some way, we can see it through the lens of compassion for us, for them, self-love, so we don't go into judgment of self and start beating ourselves up, because it was all for our learning, our growth, our evolution. And from a higher perspective, everyone contracted to play a role, to collaborate in that way in order to bring something to light, that wanted to shift, that wanted to grow, that wanted to evolve, when it was time for it to. Sometimes we have to wait, be patient for the right timing when it's ripe for shifting. And so we're just bringing in these layers, the energetic downloads for you, your body, and your teams to the degree that you choose to support you in moving into a place of readiness and willingness to shift what perhaps up until now has been perceived as unshiftable. And one of the ways to kind of clear the blocks to what we've been maybe struggling with is to bring it to mind, whatever it is, whatever the catalyst is or the thing that you've been really efforting to show up different, or you've been in resistance to the way it is showing up. And step one, lean into your line of light. Remember yourself as the being of light that you be, who is fully connected to an infinite source. We're going to invite your body, Deva, and your teams to do the same. And maybe you use the words, I am that I am, or I am light. I am of source. I'm connected to source. And as you align to that identity of you, retrieve all your reference points for your identity off of the personality, off of the experience of yourself in the physical dimension, back to your light. Off of your past self, off of another lifetime identity you had. Retrieve all your identity points back to the now, back to your beam of light that is you, holding them vertically in the now. Good. And then balance and stabilize. And then from the identity of you that is connected, you can invite your higher self to support you in releasing the meaning you've given whatever it is you've been struggling with. Higher self, I'm willing to release the meaning I've given this. Will you reinterpret my relationship with it to a higher octave for me, please? I'm willing. And then it's not our job from this level to release the meaning. We lean into our line of light. We let some higher aspect of us with a much broader perspective help to release the conclusions that aren't true and any special relationships we had set up with a particular situation, circumstance, person, job, entity, whatever. It could be like an organization. So we don't have to know all of that. Our higher self knows. Let your higher self have the responsibility to get all the data and to know all the data. And you, from this level, it's like, oh, let me just trust this higher aspect of me. It's not something separate from me. I'm not giving my power away. Let me trust this higher aspect of me to reinterpret my relationship with this to the higher octave and release all the meaning I've given it so that it can reinvent itself. Because otherwise we're streaming literally a lot of creative energy. It takes a lot of effort for us to keep things the same. And we've, in the past, been functioning from a lot of separation consciousness ways of being. So we have been, in the past, streaming our creative energy externally to try to get everything to transform in the way we want it to. So in this time of graduation from one level of consciousness to a new level of consciousness, it's really a new level of manifesting. It's from that healthy, it's from the kind of manifestor consciousness where we perceive ourselves as needing to get what we want externally to what I'm going to call creator consciousness, where we create as one with source. And we don't perceive a nemesis, something outside of us keeping something from us, or being the gatekeeper for whether or not we get to have our freedom, our peace, our joy. And so we would encourage you to play with that, to play with this idea. You can use this recording as many times as you need to revisit in this time of reinvention, to receive that energetic support as we model and help support you, your higher self, to reinvent, to release the meaning you've given what has been showing up in a discordant way, so that it can organically begin to shift into a higher octave as these massive amounts of light come streaming onto the planet. And just inviting you, then your body, your teams, to retrieve all your creative energy, your life force, your wanting, your desire off of the outer, your control energy off of the outer, the external, back to you, so that you have your resources on you to use for you to reinvent yourself. Meaning, oh, if it's freedom I want, let me use that creative energy, that life force, to activate greater freedom within my column of light. Higher self, will you do that for me, please? Will you retrieve all my creative energy, my resources back on me? Clean it, recalibrate it, reweave it for the current breath of now, meaning where I am in my evolution now, calibrating it for current moment, who I've become. And this is your power. Get your power back. How much of your creative energy have you been streaming on others, for others, trying to create for them, or onto external circumstances, people, places, things, trying to get them to be what you wanted them to be? And can you maybe feel how that's a little discordant? How it comes from control. And when you come from control, you're linking into the control grids that are actually in the process of lifting up and off of the planet. Therefore, that anything coming from that control vibration is not going to be supported at this time. There's no juice behind it. There's no framework for that anymore. Gaia's playground platform is evolving into the foundational reverence of free will, where we're only attached. It's like, how do we link into that? We're only attached to choosing for this aspect of life that is us, to honor this aspect of life that is us, because by divine design, we were ordained with that freedom, free will, that freedom of choice from the point of inception. And when we function from that, let all other beings be in their own free will choice, be in their own way of seeing, their own way of perceiving, own behaving. We're in charge of making sure our boundaries are honored. We're in charge of making sure we cultivate that within ourselves that we wish to see in the world. We wish to reflect in our world, in our experience. Everyone else gets to choose for themselves. So again, retrieving all your wanting and desire off of everyone and everything, all your control energy off of them. Cleaning it, recalibrating it, reweaving it, re-embedding it on you, for you, so you can use it for your own evolution. You are the only one that can evolve you in collaboration with your higher self, your guides and advisors, yes. But you're the only one that can actually choose for you. So when you hold your focus, your attention on you to evolve you, then things can start expressing more harmoniously. And you'll be linking into the new earth grids, the 5D that you're wishing to plant both feet in. You're hoping to actualize new earth as a side effect, as a way shower. But it is this auspicious willingness to graduate from any ways of being in control, even no matter how subtle. Even wanting someone else to be happy when they're not feeling well. Maybe they need that moment to feel what it is they're feeling. And let their higher self hold the responsibility for the experience they should be having. We can't possibly know what experience they should be having. And by thinking we should know and we should try to manipulate it or make it different, make it better, we're actually trying to play the role of source for them. And that's when we start to function from the separation consciousness, the control grids, this discordant ways of being. And as soon as we link into that, our empathic sensitivity heightens and everything starts to look really wonky. And again, that's going to be super amplified pretty much from here moving forward. It already has been, but the volume of that amplification is cranking up astronomically right now. So again, just bringing in that energetic information, inviting you, your body, and your teams to settle more into your own lane as the aspect of life that is in charge of the aspect of life that is you, no one else. Holding your focus, your attention on you to shift you, your energy, streaming your energy on you to shift you, letting them stream their creative energy on themselves or however they want, but we're not going to get attached to what they're doing because we can't choose for them. And if we try to choose for them, things get wonky. We're no longer in alignment with where we wish to go, which is the liberation 5D new earth. It's actually beyond 5D. 5D's first step. Then balance and stabilize, update all grids, all reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived. If this really resonated for you, this kind of little snippet of kind of looking at a layer and going deeper, we did a series recently of master classes called Rewiring for Oneness, and they were a la carte. So you could do one, just one, or you could do the series of them all. You could choose, pick and choose. The last one we did is, and maybe the last 2 or 3 we did are still out on our online store. You can look them up and see if it resonates, let your higher self choose. There was maybe a little bit of a theme, but really what we just looked at is how can we rewire our energetic fields and our consciousness so we're linked into oneness-based ways of being. And so you might see if any of those resonate. They were all offered on a sliding scale, and you can play with the idea of kind of taking a leap with your higher self and selecting one that you feel may be supportive for you in this time of reinvention. And you can also still join us for the 12/12 transmission, even if it's after the fact and you don't see this video till later. Know that when you enroll in something with us, you're automatically in the class in real time because we don't function from linear time. We function from multidimensional ways of being that are far beyond time. So play with the idea that your higher self, once you enroll, it kind of goes back in time and is there live with us and helps co-create the session for your highest good and the highest good of all. And so happy co-creating, happy, healthy, collaborative co-creating from source as we crank up the courage for each of us to see pieces that maybe we haven't been willing to see before. And again, maybe even activating more self-love so that if we do see something that might normally trigger shame or guilt, or we can allow that to pass through and know and trust that it was a learning, inviting all the activations of the spiritual lessons we were meant to learn through whatever that represented and symbolized. We invite a balancing and stabilizing of all your energetic fields, inviting you to balance and stabilize the electrical and magnetic energy in all systems, components, and levels of your being in all dimensions where you express yourself. It is our joy and honor to co-create in this way. And if you wish to join us for a future offering, you can go to our website at embracingtheinfinite.com. And then our online store has a lot of juicy and lovely multidimensionally layered transmissions and series offerings that are intended to support you in the process of your evolution of becoming more awake, more aware, more evolved. Much love.